We're going to do some NFL draft coverage for you on today's show, taking a look at some of the top risers, fallers, winners, losers, stock up, stock down, whatever phrase you want to use there, from week 2 of college football this past week. If you want more NFL draft videos, help me show my bosses you want in on this. Like the video right now. You're watching NFL Daily. I am Tom Downey, the lead NFL draft analyst here at Chat Sports. Been paying a close eye this year on college football, as I, of course, always do, right? With some of the guys who have impressed me and not impressed me so far this season. Let's start with the positive. Some of the winners from this most recent week of college football. How about Jordan Addison? Now, USC's offense had their way with Stanford in a very impressive fashion. Addison had 8 targets, 7 catches, 172 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He is that guy once again, folks. He was that guy at Pitt with Kenny Pickett. He's that guy again now with Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams. I think his stock also going up a little bit because other top receivers in this year's class having some issues. Jackson Smith-Njigba, our week 1 loser because of his injury. Kayshon Boutte, week 1 loser because he was moody and droppy and was bad and didn't do that much against Southern in week 2 either. So of the big 3 receivers right now, pick a wide receiver for me. J.A. for Jordan Addison, JSN for Jackson Smith-Njigba, or KB for Kayshon Boutte. Drew Sanders is next up here, the Alabama to Arkansas transfer. Producer Trace is hyped, and for good reason. He was everywhere against South Carolina. 11 tackles, 2 sacks. That came, by the way, on just 12 passes, 4 hurries, a 25% pressure rate for the off-ball linebacker. Very good. 3 TFLs, 1 PBU. The one negative on his game still, because I'll be pro and con for a lot of these guys, is not great in coverage. Targeted 8 times, 6 catches, 94 yards, a pass breakup. Won a little bit more there. Kind of a unique body type. He's big and long for an off-ball linebacker, but can rush the passer some too. There's some creativity deployments to be used there. I like Drew Sanders, former highly touted recruit. Curious how he plays the rest of this season. Deuce Vaughn, next up on this list, the Kansas State running back. I've always liked him. He is a baller, and he balled out against Missouri in a bit of a blowout win. 24 carries, 145 yards, and 2 scores. After contact matters a lot, especially when you're a Darren Sproles-ish sized running back. 97 yards after contact. That is elite. He had 4 notable broken/missed tackles. He is a very good football player, my friends. Undersized back, I know, but he should go pro this year. I think because you're a back, go pro when you can, and be a nice draft pick. All right, I am not getting to every single winner or loser. I can't watch every single game every week, even if we're doing this on Wednesday, Fridays. I just not enough time in the day. So I missed players. I promise you I did. Let me know in the comments section, if it's just from your favorite team, who your biggest NFL draft winner from week 2 of college football was. It's the pinned comment on today's show. So if the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Make sure I get the pronunciation right here. Israel Abanikanda. That is the running back out of Pitt. He was almost on our week 1 winners list. He definitely was for week 2. 25 carries, 154 yards, 126 yards after contact, 7 missed tackles. I love the frame, 5'11", 215. I like him a little bit stockier, leads to, I think, better contact balance. Showed some burst. Israel Abanikanda, I have been very impressed by so far for Pitt in back-to-back games. He is a name I think absolutely should be kept an eye on for. I went back and forth on putting E.J. Smith on this list. In the end, I said let's do it because I know he's a household name. Yes, this is Emmitt Smith's son. He was impressive in week 1 against lesser competition. And this stat line looks great, right? 96 carries, 88 yards, 1 touchdown, only 36 after contact, but he is clearly the lead back for a team that has a history of producing good backs. 3 catches, 26 yards, a rushing and receiving touchdown. There's one big thing holding back his game and why I almost did not put him on this list. Fumbles. He had 2 against USC. He had 1 last week as well. He's got to tighten up the ball security. Can't be Emmett's kid and be fumbling out here. That's not going to be okay. So if that gets fixed and he stays productive, keep an eye on him. But that fumbling red flag does need to be figured out. All right, Sam Hartman is next up. That is the Wake Forest quarterback. I'm glad he returned. He had a blood clotting issue earlier this year. He got cleared, goes up against Vanderbilt, plays great. 18 of 27, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. The long mesh read offense I hate from like an NFL standpoint, but it's a blast to watch in college. So much more fun. Stanford ran some of that too, which I find interesting against USC. Hartman being back is a huge deal for him. He was going to be on this list, even if he only played okay. Him getting back is a big deal. Now, if you want more NFL draft coverage, if you have players you want to ask about or for me to watch, hit me up on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. My DMs are open. Slide on in. Send me any NFL draft coverage you guys have. If you watched Marshall upset at Notre Dame, I think you recognize this name. Stephen Gilmore, who, yes, is the brother of Stephon Gilmore. He had a great game. 0 touchdowns allowed in coverage. Had one himself on a pick 6. Notre Dame looked his way 4 times in total. 1 catch, 6 yard, a pick 6. The brother of Stephon Gilmore absolutely balled out. I was very impressed by Stephen Gilmore. We'll see if that can continue against offenses that can actually throw the football, i.e. not Iowa, but I was impressed by Gilmore in week 2. Under the radar name, Gervon Dexter, the Florida defense lineman. Now, not the big guy out there, but the more Javon Kinlaw style penetrating 3 technique. Really good first half. Kind of cooled off a little bit, but 7 tackles, half a sack, half a TFL, a PBU. Was brought on pressure 21 times by Florida. Again, UK ran it a lot. 3 hurries. It's not a bad pressure rate for a interior defensive lineman in the very humid, South. So I like what I saw from Dexter. He was on my list entering this year, so I was keeping my eye out for him. Liked what I saw in week 2. You could write in Florida after week 2. Notre Dame for sure when it comes to college football. Who is the most overrated college football team right now? Drop that name. You can be a hater for me in the comments section. Bryce Ford-Wheaton, the West Virginia wide receiver next up here. You like the size. Got a really good frame on him, 6'3", 220, listed against Kansas. Neil Brown might be getting fired soon, folks. 14 targets, 11 catches, 152 through the air, and 2 scores. He was on my list that I trimmed down in week 1. Had another great week. I put him on it for week 2. A name you might not be familiar with is Derek Parish. Against Texas Tech, the guy was everywhere. 10 tackles, 4 sacks, 6 TFLs, a forced fumble. He was brought on pressure 48 times. 12 of those times he got a pressure. And you can't see it. He had his right hand all clubbed up, basically. He was awesome. He was just consistently getting pushed, getting pressure. That pressure rate, 25%, is nutty, even at the college level. He was not really on my radar at all entering this game. But because I was watching Houston, Texas Tech, he kept popping for me. Went back and watched more. Really good in week 2. For NFL news, rumors, live show, draft coverage, and everything else kind of in between, we've got you covered right here at Chat Sports. Hit that big red button and subscribe today. Let's talk losers, because I believe in looking at the pros and cons of everyone. Anthony Richardson was a week 1 winner. Week 2, oh boy, what happened? Honestly, just brutal. 14 of 35. Look, there were 3 drops in there. Does not save your game. 143 through the air. 2 interceptions. Neither of them not that good. The dual threat ability disappeared. Only 6 carries for 4 yards. Maybe it was a game planning thing. I had said I wanted to see Richardson become a more consistent passer. They aired it out against Kentucky, and it was a nightmare. He's got raw talent. He's got ability. This is why we say projects and say be patient, and why 1 game does not a prospect. If you watch him against Kentucky, undraftable. Watch him in week 1 against Utah, you're talking, hey, first-round pick. Talent's still there. An entire year of college football basically still to go. So prediction time. Will Anthony Richardson be a first-round pick? 1 for yes, because, 1 first round. 2 for no, 2 for second round or later. Sound off for me in the comment section. Let's do another quarterback here. Cameron Ward. And I think you're saying, Tom, they beat Wisconsin. They did. Not because of Cam Ward's play. It's because Wisconsin has their own issues right now. 17 of 28, 200 yards, 1 TD, 2 interceptions. He was the transfer from that high-powered school, just throwing bombs left and right. Awesome production. It has not translated yet to the NFL level. I was hoping for more out of Cameron Ward. I didn't see it in one of the better competitions he'll face all year. I came away, unfortunately, disappointed. All right, I got 2 more losers. Who do you think is the biggest NFL draft loser from this past week of college football? Let me know in the comments section. Next up, it is Will Anderson. Now, I want to be clear. Like I kind of teased earlier or mentioned earlier, one game does not totally change your draft stock. I still think Anderson is the number 1 player in this year's class. He did not play well against Texas. Now, he had 2 tackles for loss. There was the weird play where Texas just didn't block him late, and he had the easiest sack he'll ever have in his entire life. A free runner for Will Anderson makes no sense. 7% pressure rate is not good enough for Will Anderson. Oh, and he had 3 penalties, 2 offsides, and a blatant late hit. It was undisciplined, frustrated play from Will Anderson. I expect he'll bounce back soon. I'm not worried there, but got to be better than that from Will Anderson. Finally, Art Gilbert. Now, this was a player who, talent-wise, correctly, has been hyped as a round 1 pick. He ain't going round 1 right now, my friends. He had 10 snaps this week. He's just not playing for Georgia. If you're not going to play football, you're not going to be an early draft pick. So, Gilbert, stock has cratered until he actually gets on the football field. All right, bonus time. Some prospects to watch for week 3 who you might see on this list if we do it again next week. Tyler Van Dyke, Miami quarterback who I liked coming into this year against A&M. Big-time situation there. Devin Achane, I was impressed by last week. A&M's got to bounce back. Their quarterback, Hayes King, is not it. Give him the football. Jake Haener gets to go up against USC. Can he be an actual draftable prospect? We'll find out this week against the Trojans. Sleeper name for real first-round buzz is Tyree Wilson. He is not. You might not see him a ton in mock drafts, but I know the NFL official scouting services that the teams hire to do the combine stuff, they were very high on Tyree Wilson. He's got a ton of pressure this year, not that many sacks. Watch out for a maybe breakout game against NC State. And Noah Sewell and the rest of that Oregon defense was a disaster in week 1. Time to bounce back against a good team in BYU. All right, that is it for today's video. If you are a real one, and type in real one for me in the comments section so I can see who made it to the end of today's video.